On the streets of Melbourne, it was a matter of just seconds between the top contenders as Dutchman Danny van Poppel took the yellow jersey after charging across the course at an average speed of 49.6 kilometres per hour. But today, seconds can turn into minutes. An enormous day of climbing and the ski resort of Falls Creek awaits. Chris Froome is the world's best climber and Esteban Chavez is here to challenge that title. It's a day in the mountains and it will take a world-class performance to win. Hello and welcome to Wangaratta for stage one of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. It's straight into the mountains as we head through Bright, over Toowoomba Gap and then onto Falls Creek. Matthew Keenan and Phil Liggett with you. Phil, yesterday around the streets of Melbourne it was just 2.1 kilometres. The first yellow jersey, Danny van Poppel, brilliant ride. But today I think we'll see yellow on the front supporting Chris Froome.
Absolutely. Danny will be the first man to tell you this isn't his race because now it's all uphill. This first full day of racing is really a tester. Probably one of the best courses we've seen for some years in this event, and it'll bring the climbers out straight away. So no, we'll see the yellow jersey helping possibly Chris Froome, his team leader. Well,
his team leader, Chris Froome, he finished 26th in the opening day's race in the prologue, but he was 4 seconds faster than Esteban Chavez, and they're the two riders we're talking about as the ones that will go head-to-head on Falls Creek.
Yeah, you say that, and absolutely right, Matt, because those 4 seconds difference could be crucial by the end of this race. The prologue normally doesn't affect racing, but when you've got two great climbers like Chris Froome and Chavez, 4 seconds could be the difference by the end of this race. It's a tough day of racing today, and we've got to see the men who want to win this race come to the front.
So with those guys in the race, there's lots of opportunities, particularly for men of the young Australians, to prove themselves. One guy who's in amongst it, who was racing here last year, is Pat Shaw, and he's got his version of events of what he thinks will happen. And let's not forget, yesterday, he picked Danny van Poppel to win the stage.
Talking tactics, stage one, Wangaratta to Falls Creek. This is an absolute belter. They're going to be going up Falls Creek and challenging the likes of Froomes and Chavez. But if you're a rider in the peloton and you want to get a result, you cannot wait for that. You've got to go early. Toowoomba Gap leaves a good opportunity, a long climb, and if you're a climber and want to break those shackles of the riders behind, that's your opportunity. Geez, I'd love to be out there. I can't be, but make the most of it.
There are two standout favourites, Chris Froome and Esteban Chavez. In amongst the sign-on, David McKenzie is with Esteban Chavez.
With the fact that Chris Froome is here, I know it's January, it's early, or February, it's early season, but it's good for you to measure yourself against him to measure himself against you, to see that as the season unfolds.
Yeah, for sure, and it's one race. And the more important is we will enjoy, Froome and me and every single rider. Yeah, it's good test. For sure, Froome is one tough guy, and it's not easy. So this is the part for the cycling, and yeah, it's beautiful.
You said to me the other day, there's a little Colombian that you might be battling it out with, Esteban Chavez. Do you think there'll be a few others in the mix? Because there are some notable climbers in this race this year.
Yeah, definitely, and I think certainly from the local scene as well, I think there's a lot of guys who are in great shape now, who really had a good summer and focused on being good at the Nationals. So. Yeah, we're definitely going to have our work cut out for us today.
When they're both at their best, they dearly love the course today, and we'll find out whether they are. 174.2 kilometres, starting in Wangaratta, heading down towards the King Valley, into Myrtleford for the first of the intermediate sprints. The journey is still flat through to Bright, and that's where it starts to get difficult. Over the top of Toowoomba Gap, a technical descent, down along the valley roads before returning into Mount Beauty, and then the 30-kilometre climb to the ski resort at Falls Creek. The terrain, the profile, it doesn't do it justice. This is a big day of climbing.
Indeed it is, and Wangaratta, the home to the Murray to Mountains Rail Trail, which runs from Wangaratta through to Bright, is a beautiful bike ride. The riders here find the roads very, very nice indeed. It's also the home of Olympic champion Dean Wood and other big riders like Damien MacDonald and Glenn Clark. And the crowd out in force today to enjoy the 3 times Tour de France winner Chris Froome taking part.
Big crowd at the start. Two of the older statesmen of the race, Simon Gerrans alongside Greg Henderson. 40 years of age now, Greg Henderson. Danny van Poppel wearing the yellow jersey. this might be one of those classic days, Phil, where we see the yellow jersey working for somebody else on his team. Two Colombians, Esteban Chavez along with Sebastian Anal, both brilliant climbers and expected to be a major factor. The white jersey, the state government best young rider classification, that is Aidan Tuvey, who rides with the New South Wales Institute of Sport.
So the riders rolling out 4 kilometres plus and neutralised. We're now bound for Falls Creek. This is the Falls Creek stage of the event. And for me, it is a Tour de France stage. We're going up into the mountains.
The profile is right on par, so too is the scenery. The navy blue colours you see at the front, Lee Howard is closest to the car. That's the aqua blue team, the new Irish team. And you can see Chris Froome in the black colours. As soon as that flag came in to end the neutral zone, he hit the Garmin to get that started, and now we've got the first attack, and this is Ben Hill who's trying to go forward.
Well, this is the sort of race we expected now. The riders know the importance of this stage. They know they must attack from the gun today. Chris Froome starting right on the front, and it was specific to note the yellow jersey of Danny Van Poppel was not on the front. He's doing what he said. He's going to ride for Froome.
And Greg Henderson in the blue colours of United Healthcare, the oldest rider in the race. He's just measuring things at the front to make sure at least if or when a break does go, that his team is represented.
Well, they're going to concentrate hard today. They're picking up good wins at the moment. They know they're racing down the valley roads for a while. Little change of direction coming, and a group of riders getting clear here right from the gun. It looks to be 7 or 8 men going ahead.
Well, there's just 10 kilometres covered, and all of a sudden the first break is formed. At this left-hand turn, they will pick up that tailwind. Darcy Allen Norton now trying to come across for the St. George Continental team. This is one of the smallest teams in the race. He's almost there. They won't be waiting for him. This is a tough chase.
I tell you, he's seen the train leaving the station and he's just about to get on it because the gap is opening behind. The peloton has eased back. They've worked out who is in this breakaway. It is 8 riders now, but a long way to go to the finish. Just over 10 kilometres run. That's 164 to ride.
He's made contact. He's had a brief sigh of relief. But now Darcy's going through to the front. One significant rider of note in that breakaway, Phil, Calvin Watson from Aqua Blue, who won this race overall in 2013.
Yes, when he was exactly 20 years of age on the final day. Big moment for Calvin. He knows the roads.
Here he is. Nicky Sorensen, the sports director.
No better man to advise him. He's ridden the Tour de France, I think it's 10 times, Nicky Sorensen, and he's now advising the team. It's a new team, and it's been very impressive on its short stay in Australia these last few weeks. The oldest man in the race, Greg Henderson. Yes, he's a Kiwi, but his wife lives in Melbourne as he does, and Greg now very familiar with these roads.
The yellow colours, number 81, this is Ben Hill from Attack Team Gusto. He had a brilliant Jayco Herald Sun Tour last year. He got in a number of breakaways, picked up the intermediate sprints, and went out the winner of the sprint classification.
Let's give you a few more names in that breakaway from the Roompot Dutch team. Sjoerd van Ginneken is up there. Steve Lampier, the British rider on the JLT Condor team as well. We've seen also Jacob Kaufman from New South Wales, and also Matt Ross has made it in the Drapac Pat's Veg team. It's a good all-round break, and they all seem to work. Here's the yellow jersey. He's not thinking of defending that lead today.
And work, that's exactly what he will be doing throughout the stage. And Chris Froome, he will no doubt be the #1 protected man as the defending champion. Worth noting, though, the 2 riders behind him, Kenny Alisson and then Sebastian Anal. So the 2 small climbers sitting behind Froome. Speaking of climbers, Esteban Chavez.
He's going to mark Froome everywhere he goes today. They are the 2 big favourites for this race overall when we finish on Sunday. These breakaways are scurrying away, and that's why Sky have come to the front here, Matt. We've had just over 7 minutes, and look at that, 7 minutes 4 seconds shown. That's why they're concerned now. That's got a little bit too far for comfort.
So 2 strong teams on the front. Ian Stannard at the front for Sky. The big Kiwi, Sam Bewley. He got his chance yesterday in the prologue, Sam Bewley. So too did Danny Van Poppel. And Van Poppel is one of the riders assisting with not so much the chase of that breakaway, but more just the containment. The big men on the front as they head across the Ovens River. They're doing the chasing. The smaller climbers, they're waiting for Falls Creek.
130 kilometres left to ride here, and Calvin Watson getting on the radio. He's just getting his radio back out of the car. That'll make it easier than dropping back for a chat.
This is a new team. They made their debut at the Cadet Evans Great Ocean Road Race, and they had a big impact. Connor Dunn, he managed to win the King of the Mountains classification, and they're in the move again today. And the man in the move for them is Calvin Watson. He's speaking to our cameraman.
What exactly were you doing there? Just putting my radio on. It actually ran out of battery. So now I can be in touch with the director in the car.
We saw throughout the Cadet Evans Great Ocean Road Race, his sports director, Nicky Sorensen, when he went up to the breakaway to speak to his rider, he spoke to the whole breakaway to get them to work well together. Through Myrtleford, there was plenty of school kids on the side of the road. Jacob Kaufman collecting maximum points in the battle for the Metro Trains green jersey.
You all working together? Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, after those sprint points, but yeah, just nice and rolling through, keeping it steady.
Well, keeping it steady, but I'll tell you, I saw that sprint. He was very, very clean, showing back wheels for the rest of the race here. Let's just drop back and have a look what's going on here. This is the peloton. Sky are keeping control of this race. Luke Rowe, the Welshman on Team Sky's strongman, and it looks as though he's been picking up all the feeding bottles here. Now he's handing them out. Well, the tempo riding, we've gone through Myrtleford, is down now to 6:30, so that looks like they've set the limit for the day. They're going to control this breakaway now.
The feet of Chris Froome. The first serious day in the mountains in season 2017 for the Triple Tour de France winner.
Nice view of his elliptical chain wheel there. Chris always likes to ride the elliptical chain wheel. It tends to throw your feet over the top and sometimes makes it a little bit better. Here is the second sprint coming into Bright now. And again, it is Kaufman. This is a close one. Wow, that nearly went to the camera. Kaufman has got it, but only just. And Van Ginneken in second place there. Good sprint.
And Kaufman, with the nose in front, he was trying to conserve energy with the climb still to come, and he only just managed to hold on. Van Ginneken in second, Hill it was in third position.
Oh, with a bit of luck, 12 points scored. That should give Kaufman the first green Metro Trains jersey of the race when he gets through to the finishing line. Job done for the day for him. He's still got the big climbs to come though, and the peloton are closing in here.
As a sprinter, he won't enjoy that terrain. That's Mount Buffalo off in the distance. It's been the destination of the past for stage finishes in the Jayco Herald Sun Tour.
91 kilometres to go. The scenery is changing dramatically now. We are going into the beauty of the high mountains around Falls Creek. Very often a ski resort destination, but today the final destination for the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. 8 riders are starting the climbs ahead of the field.
This is Toowoomba Gap. The official length of the climb, according to the race manual, is around about 11 kilometres, but the main part of the climb is 6 kilometres. You speak of Falls Creek as being a skiing destination. Bright is a town right at the base of some major mountains, Buffalo, Hotham and Falls Creek, that they have as much of a touristic impact on their economy here with bike riders as they do with skiers. You can come here any time of the year.
Turning towards Mount Beauty, that means the climb of Toowoomba Gap for the peloton now. These are the 8 leaders. They're on the climb. It's a gentle, high-speed climb, this. And Steve Lampierre, the British rider, he likes these short climbs, and not surprisingly, he's been doing a lot more work than the others to keep the pace up.
There's still a long way to go. There's still a long way to climb. They're riding very smartly, that breakaway group, making sure they all stay together, because there's a lot of time through the valley before they hit Falls Creek itself. Sam Bewley on the front.
Yes, big Sam Bewley. He's not built for the mountains. He's a diesel engine. He keeps thumping away there. He's doing his job, though, for Chavez primarily on the Orica team.
This is Matthew Ross at the front for the Drapac Pats Veg team.
Still 8 riders on this climb. The gap is closing down. It's just over 4.5 minutes now to the peloton. The faces on those guys look pretty cool, calm and collected, but these fellas are now stepping on the gas here. This is fine riding by Sky, and Chris Froome in the 4th wheel in exactly where he wants to be. Chavez is in the second group of riders in those lime green helmets, and now life is getting a bit rough here.
Jesse Kerrison, number 91 in the black colours, he's losing contact. A strong sprinter. He'll be looking forward to Mitchelton Winery on Saturday and just surviving days like this one.
Very difficult climb now because they're climbing at around about 30 kilometres an hour, these riders, as professionals do. 75 kilometres to go. And right on the front there, Calvin Watson setting the pace for Aqua Blue.
Some of the locals on the side, they'll be looking forward to measuring their times against the times of the likes of Chris Froome and Esteban Chavez.
They'll be absolutely amazed at how fast professionals climb these gentle slopes. The long climbs, there's the gap. It's at 4:55 at the moment, approaching 5 minutes.
Note the yellow jersey of Danny Van Poppel. He's starting to slip back down through that main peloton, but importantly, he is still in contact. Climbing, it's all power to weight. It's you against gravity. The lighter you are, theoretically, the better your chances to climb well. Danny Van Poppel is one of the heaviest in the race at 83 kilograms. The sprint for the top of the climb.
As they come up towards the top of Falls Creek, this is Van Ginneken trying to give it a run for the summit here. He's a big boy.
Tawonga Gap, Falls Creek is still to come. Van Ginneken, it is Hill who is challenging. Hill has just about got him, but the Dutchman is holding on. This will go down to the photo, or will it? It's a long-range sprint. The look over the shoulder from Hill, he gets there in the end, but he spent some energy to collect those points.
4:58 now, and that was Ben Hill gets the 20 points in the Subaru King of the Mountains. Gerd Van Ginneken 12 and Matthew Ross gets 6 for the record. It was Calvin Watson over in 4th place. He'll get 2. Well, we see some great views in the Tour de France, but this takes the cake. Absolutely stunning, beautiful road here. We're in the Alp chain of mountains here now. We're heading towards Falls Creek. That's the big remaining climb, of course, and that is the best part of 30 kilometres in length. But first, the delight of the descent.
It's a fast descent. It's not very technical, although there's a few corners that if you're a little ambitious, you could pay the price. It's Ian Stannard who is setting the tempo at the front for Team Sky. Still a very big peloton.
Well, we've got the clock running on the finishing line of the climb here at the moment. Team Sky have done all of the work up this climb. The job primarily not to allow those 8 riders too much lead. I think the kill will come towards the end, but the gap as they come up the climb is 4 minutes. Australia is famous for its beaches, and in Melbourne you don't have to go too far to find them. Melbourne is the perfect combination of the old and the new, with stunning World Heritage listed architecture, as well as contemporary public places like Federation Square. Or you can just go down the laneways, which offer an eclectic collection of bars. Get out of town, experience some of Victoria's magnificent coastline, while Melbourne itself comes alive after sundown.
The leading group of 8, which broke away after just 10 kilometres, still holding on to a 4-minute advantage. They've descended off Tawonga Gap. Now they've got the long journey along the valley before hitting Falls Creek. The contingent of 8, Sogred Van Ginneken from the Rompot team, Greg Henderson, the elder statesman from United Healthcare, Calvin Watson, a former winner with the Aqua Blue squad, Steve Lampier from the British JLT Condor team, Ben Hill of Attack Team Gusto, also in the move, Matt Ross of Drapax Pat Veg, Darson Ellen Norton of St George, and from the New South Wales Institute of Sport, Jacob Kaufman, who leads the Metro Chains sprint competition.
And the gap is down, 3 minutes 43 into the last 75 kilometres of the day. Lucas Hamilton.
He's got huge expectations on his shoulders. 2016, though, wasn't quite what he hoped for.
Well, the Jayco Herald Sun Tour for many years now has become a great breeding ground for young Australian talent. And the 2017 edition will be no different, especially when you've got the likes of Chris Froome and Esteban Chavez racing this year's event. For the Quartermentor Australian team and 20-year-old Lucas Hamilton, it is a big chance for him to measure himself against the very best.
Last year didn't go quite to plan, so it's good to be back here and see that Froome's back here as well. So it's a good opportunity for me to have a go.
He's just had a focus and determination to get there, and he works very hard at it, and he's very naturally talented, and I think his potential is limitless.
There's always a bit of an intimidating factor, especially when you're riding against a triple Tour de France champion. and the likes of Chavez and that. But I think we always put ourselves in the best position to have the best go, and I'll plan to do that today as well.
His potential is unlimited. I think he can be a World Tour, Grand Tour climber in time. He can also time trial when he wants to, so he could be a genuine GC contender a few years down the track.
It's a really good opportunity for not just me but the team as well. We've got a really strong group of climbers here, so it's a good opportunity for us to measure ourselves against those sort of guys and see where we sit on the world level of climbing.
Can he pull off a surprise at all?
It won't be a surprise. I don't think he can ride away from Froome, but he won't be far behind him. They'll be with these guys, and Lucas will be at the front of them.
Yes, and Dave Saunders there, the team director, what he says goes with these youngsters, and they'll be up for the fight today on the last climb, which is 30 kilometres long. Through the feeding station now, settling down to what is going to be a long chase. Greg Henderson, the oldest man in the race, still up amongst the leaders here and looking like the experienced pro he is.
Well, he's been the captain on the road for the breakaway. Sure, they're all from different teams, but he has got them well organised, and they're still holding on to that advantage. It's hovering around the 4-minute mark. Now's a chance for them all to eat. The peloton, as they enter the feed zone, they'll slow down even more.
Interesting change of tactics here now, because the Orica Scott have come to the front to give Sky a hand. There should be reason for concern. The gap has started to grow slightly again at 4:26, because that breakaway showed no signs of making a mistake.
Michael Hepburn collecting 2 bags, doing the duties for the smiling Sam Bewley. There's Simon Gerrans from the same team, off in the background, just getting his lunch organised. Slight headwind at this point for the breakaway group of 8, but gently downhill, so that's a bonus.
A picture postcard backdrop there as we continue to snake our way now towards the climb of Falls Creek. You can't fault this breakaway. 8 riders, 8 different teams. That means there's only 7 teams left to chase back in that main field. Little bit of a narrow bridge here now as we begin our approach to the slopes, which will take us to the top of Falls Creek.
And look at Henderson in the blue as he drifts back over the shoulder and talking to the others in the group, trying to maintain their motivation with still 53 kilometres to race.
Some 20 kilometres plus now from the start of the climb. It starts gently, it gets into its rhythm as we come up to the ski station at Falls Creek.
New South Wales Institute of Sport, that was Jacob Kaufman at the back. He's looking over the shoulder, was calling for the team car. He needs some refreshments.
No problems with that narrow bridge anyway, which in the old days used to be what they called a pick-a-plank bridge. Pick your plank and choose your route, because they were very dangerous for cyclists.
The breakaway group heading in towards Mount Beauty. Steve Lampier from the JLT Condor team, he's been looking good throughout the day. So too is Kelvin Watson.
Well, he looks a lot older than his 20 years when he won this race a few years ago, but now he's got a lot of experience under those wheels. And Kelvin Watson looking very content with this breakaway. It's a very good combination. I guess the common language is English, or maybe Australian, Matt.
Which is a dialect of English. Matt Ross at the back stretching. The younger legs were really tired today. It's 174 kilometres, which doesn't sound particularly long, but with this terrain and Falls Creek off in the distance, it is a big day.
If you're not a climber now and you take a look over your left shoulder, you're going to quake as we look at the chase here now. Team Sky drive on here, but there's also the Orica Scott team. They're advertising who the favourites are now, Chavez and Froome.
3 strong riders doing the chasing. Ian Stannard at the front, followed by Danny Van Poppel and then Sam Bewley. The next in line was Chris Froome, and strung out in single file at the back of the peloton. They're not enjoying the view.
There are 95 riders in this big peloton at the moment. This is Tim Rowe.
Having a conversation with Andrew Christie Johnson. Feeling better as the day goes on, Tim Rowe. He's a new recruit to the team, Tim Rowe. He has spent some time with BMC, and Andrew Christie Johnson, his sports director, has delivered the likes of Richie Port to the top end of the sport.
That's Steve Lampier at the front, the British rider from JLT Condor. He comes from the southwest from Cornwall, but in fact, so he could get to the bike races easier in the UK, he moved up into Yorkshire. So he won't be afraid of hills, although he doesn't like them, he told me, quite as long as the climb up to Falls Creek.
As Van Ginneken at the back of the group, the Dutchman, as they're about to start the climb, he now goes through to the front. 29 kilometres to go, and almost all of it is uphill.
Goodness knows what the riders think. Well, that's whited out. It says 2 minutes 20, I think, on that whiteboard at the moment. They'll have a gentle approach. The peloton are heading to the same board at the moment, and then this will kick up in the last kilometres of the day.
The peloton charging down towards Mount Beauty, and it is Sam Bewley at the front, burying his head. He swings off the Kiwi and takes a look across at the peloton. His job for the day is done. It's now over to the climbers for Orica Scott, as Luke Rowe is barking instructions either to his teammates or calling for instructions from the team car. Either way, Sky have control of the main field.
Well, I tell you what, that pressure is on. That's going to really crack this leading group now. They cannot relax at all. And as you can see here, this is Van Ginneken at the front, who's now swung over to the right of the road, and a lovely support for the riders. You don't get to see the Jayco Herald Sun Tour in this part of the world very often.
And as much as Chris Froome is Mr. Popular, it looks like the art project at school has ended up with plenty of green and gold for the Australians.
It's a shame they couldn't take time out to vote on the best drawing there, but they've gone through at high speed. They're closing this gap down. They're relying on the slopes now. Riders are beginning to crack here. This is Matt Ross, and Matt is the first man to crack.
He loses contact on the lower slopes of Falls Creek. This is Ben Hill now, who's starting to do the same.
And don't forget, Ben was the winner of the climb of Taronga Gap, but he's gone on this one.
His thumbs up. He's
got
pleased.
a sense of humour anyway.
Still a long climb ahead. Jacob Kaufman, the leader of the Metro Train sprint classification. This is not his terrain.
Now, if he gets to the top, though, and finishes the day, he'll be in green tomorrow as the sprint leader. Had a good day out. A big boy to get up this climb, I have to say.
And the experience of Greg Henderson. And look at Darcy at the back. Darcy, Alan Norton, he is really digging deep. He can't maintain that sort of pressure for too much longer. He is right near the red zone, and he's gone.
You're right, he's gone. It's a smooth pedaling of Kelvin Watson here, who's going to keep that tempo going as long as he can. Now, these of the 8 are the 4 best climbers left, tempo riding, but it is still a long way to go. It's at least 15 kilometres to climb.
The white jersey, the best young rider. It's the Victorian Government Best Young Rider classification for men under 23. That was Aidan Turvey. As the yellow jersey, Danny Van Poppel also bids farewell to the peloton.
Well, he made no secret of it. He was never going to defend his lead. It's all for Chris Froome. He's done his job all day. The Maillot Jaune was his for a day, though. And now he'll just have to get home as best he can. It is now Orica Scott versus Sky, with a little intrusion from New Zealand.
And the rider who sits at the front was 4th in the prologue yesterday. That is Michael Hepburn. He's a man for the flatlands as well, so doing his job early. The grimacing face of Steve Lampier at the front.
Well, he loves his climbing, Steve Lampier. He doesn't like long climbs. He rode very, very well over the top of Taronga Gap, and he's driving in this breakaway now. Looking at the other faces, they're just about into the red zone, I think, those other 3. And Lampier is stamping on those pedals. Peloton split.
It has. It's split to pieces. There's a significant gap that's now opened up. Scott Bowden going to the front, was it Robbie Hucker? It's Robbie Hucker from the ISOA Sports Swiss Wellness Team, one of their many strong climbers. And the yellow helmet, that is Simon Gerrans.
Well, this is a useful split here, but I'm just looking down the line to see if any of the fancied men are here. And I don't see Chavis and I don't see Froome at the moment. And this is a healthy group racing clear.
Lachlan Morton is in there. Lachlan Norton, I should say, from the blue team of the United Healthcare squad, as one of his teammates comes through to the front. And they've got another teammate, Greg Henderson, at the head of the breakaway group of 4.
Henderson still riding hard, but look at the gap. It's plummeting now, 1:24. Dreams of winning the stage, I think, are evaporating in the thin air up here as we're racing up to over 1,500 meters today. And these boys are on a lovely day, and it looked to me as though Calvin Watson almost clipped the back wheel of the rider ahead of him there. The peloton are battling it back.
They're starting to reel in some of those breakaway riders that were dropped a little bit earlier on. Calvin Watson sitting at the back. He knows this climb better than anybody in the break. He knows what is still in front. He's done a lot of training camps up here.
Yes, I'm not too sure whether, and because he knows what's to come, it's 20 kilometres to go, what's to come, he's looking a little bit sticky on the back of this four at the moment.
This is the little village of Bogon.
That's a great name for a village, and just tucked away in the nape of the mountain here, staying out the winters that come its way.
It's still reasonably warm. The temperature is in the low 20s, but they're pretty fortunate with the amount of shade on this climb. It makes it as comfortable as it can be.
It's a beautiful day for a bike race up a mountain. Sir Van Gunneken is the rider on the front. Now it's Steve Lampier, will not ease back on those pedals. He's ridden superbly. Greg Henderson trying to hold on, and still at the back and not working anymore is Calvin Watson now.
Many of those spectators you saw on the left-hand side of the road, they're locals from Bright. They've made the trip over on the bike. This is Dan Fitter, followed then by the Kiwi national champion, Joe Cooper.
Well, they're not waiting for the favourites to make a move. I'll say that. These boys are not showing any fear of the big names in this race right now. They're testing the fitness of everybody. 15 kilometres to go. We still have 4 of the original 8 that went clear just before 10 kilometres.
And Calvin Watson at the back, the legs look like they're starting to get a little sore. Don't look to the left. That's the destination. It's still a long way away.
Yes, parachutes issued at the top. This is the little group now. Luke Rowe is number 5 in this group as well, and he's a very strong man. There seems to be a bit of a diversionary tactic going on here. Simon Gerrans is up here, but no signs of the men we've been expecting to see.
That's Gerrans wearing number 11, a 2-time winner of the race. He won it in 2005 for the first time, then in 2006 as Chris Froome has come across.
Well, he's flown across the gap, and there he is, number 1, all to see now. He's come past our camera. Look at the difference in that pace now. They're really revving it up here. Luke Rowe driving on. This is becoming a very select group. And Simon Gerrans, as Matt has said, the 2-time winner, now looking at where he's going.
And with the arrival of Chris Froome, Luke Rowe has really upped the tempo at the front. And now Henderson loses contact, finally.
The pressure from behind, they know, is now immense here. Henderson can't keep this pressure up. He's eased back, job done. He's been a real workhorse in this breakaway. And I think Calvin Watson's about to say goodbye. Yes, he is. And the other man who said au revoir to the peloton is Steve Lampier. He's sensed the breaking of the breakaway. Time to go for gold.
And they've had a brilliant season so far, JLT Condor. They've made Victoria their base for the past 6 or 7 years throughout this part of the season. And they've made plenty of hay with the sun that has been shining on them.
The Cornishman come Yorkshireman now, riding in very hilly terrain. There are a few climbs, but not many this high in Yorkshire, and they're over the moors rather than in the forest. But it looks to me now as though Calvin is going back.
This is an attack from the peloton. This is Damien Housen who is at the front, followed by the little French climber, Kenny Alessandre. Kenny Alessandre is a man for the pure mountains.
I'm using this map because we've talked about Esteban, which is Housen's team. We talked about Froome, which is Alessandre's team. 2 different riders on the attack, and they're going for it. They've still got to catch the leader, though, and he's out front. It's easy to see why Melbourne is the undisputed events capital of Australia. The vast sports precinct that includes the famous Melbourne Cricket Ground and the venue that hosted both an Olympic and Commonwealth Games. And of course there's always the walk down the laneways or the entertainments, especially in Federation Square. Not far away you can run along the coastlines, you can even see the 12 Apostles, or is it 11? And of course the vineyards abound here in the area around Melbourne.
Approaching the final 10 kilometres of the climb, Steve Lampier still off the front on his own. From here on, it is uphill all the way through to the finish.
Well, it's been 2 days of superb riding by the London-based JLT Condor squad, and no exception today, Lampier. But look at this now, they're closing in on him. Elisson is prepared to work here. Not so sure yet about Damien Housen.
The speed is extraordinary. For the locals who have ridden this climb, these men are riding on the big chain ring. That shows how fast they're going. And very quickly, they've reeled in the Brits. Lampier is about to be caught by two of the best.
Oh, he looked over his shoulder, he grimaced, he saw them coming. He'll have recognised the team colours of the two top teams in this race. He'll be surprised by the names maybe when they reach him, as they now try to control the peloton. Mitch Dockard with his moustache there getting to the front. They know what's going on. They've got two riders we didn't expect on the attack.
That bridge signifies the last little bit of respite for the peloton. For them as well, it's all the way uphill to the finish. Hausen looking across the shoulder, now collaborating with Alisson.
Well, they're coming right up behind the Yorkshireman here. I think I'll call him a Yorkshireman, although he said he was born and bred in Cornwall. He looks across, he checks them out, and he checks the colours. He thinks these aren't the guys who are supposed to catch me. Maybe I've got a chance. He's going to try and hang on.
And tactically for both of these teams, Sky and Orica Scott, the two biggest teams in the race, this is a brilliant move because these two men are outstanding climbers, but not the riders that the others will be marking.
Round the edge as we approach Fainter's Lookout here, you can park your car, you can walk up the mountains here in the area of Falls Creek for as long as you like. 10 kilometres to go, the final chance of a drink. From now on, you're on your own.
From the 10-kilometre mark, there is no more feeding, so that is the last opportunity for Kenny Alisson, likewise for Hausen.
I guess the team didn't expect Steve Lampier to be with the leaders at this point. There was no bottle for him. He's going to hang on, though, as long as he can in the hope he can get up there. But it's going to be, I think, an awful ask of him now. The gap is down to 45 seconds on this very large group. And the men that matter are in it. Chris Froome, Esteban Chavez, Sebastian Henao are in that group.
Lampier now losing contact as he slips through the cars that are following the two leaders. It's Hausen and Alisson that remain at the front. And now Damien Hausen is attacking.
Oh.
The Frenchman Kenny Alisson is desperately trying to respond.
Damien Hausen, who we know is a very, very strong rider, an ex-young man as a world champion, has never won a professional race, and he's about to head up the steepest climb of this year's race so far. He looks over his shoulder. Kenny Alisson, who is a climber, has been distanced.
And Hausen is not fearing Alisson's reputation. The little Frenchman, he was a winner of the Queen stage of the Tour of Spain in 2013 to the top of the much feared Angliru, the steepest climb in the Volta a España. But Hausen, he's not waiting, he is charging to the top.
He is rolling some big gears on this bike. We expected the riders to tackle these climbs at around about 30 kilometers an hour, and it looks like we're not disappointed. Now that is the number to carry when you're in the lead and you're not superstitious.
Well, number 13, it might be a good number for Hausen. Kenny Alisson is the first Frenchman to ride with Team Sky, and he got across to the team because the negotiations broke down with his French squad that he'd been with throughout his career, and the lead for Hausen is being reduced. Alisson has got plenty of fight in those legs.
A lot of fight. He's been training in Queensland with none other than Chris Froome before he got a late call up to go and ride the Santos Tour Down Under. He said riding the Santos Tour Down Under was easier than training with Chris Froome. Now they're both here in this race, and there's a little bit of action also back in the main field here now.
This is Sebastian Henao, followed by Jai Hindley, the Western Australian, for the Quartamenta real estate team. And another rider from the west just behind him is Michael Storer. Well, this is an interesting tactic with Kenny Alisson off the front, along with Damien Hausen. They have an advantage of 1 minute. Maybe Team Sky is concerned about the fact that Alisson every now and then gets dropped by Hausen. This is Dan Fitter, who's been stuck in the middle trying to go across on his own.
And he hasn't made it, poor Dan. He's gone back to the group here. These riders in white are amazing. They boast most of the youngest riders in this race, and they're right up amongst the sharp end of the event as we're reaching the top of Falls Creek. This is Hausen. He's been rejoined. It's like David and Goliath on the mountain now, but this time it's Alisson who can't work with Hausen. Lachlan Morris setting the pace in the blue.
Lockie Norris at the front, followed then by Sebastian Henao. Michael Storer is the next in line. Ben Dybel just behind him. Hausen, even though he's been caught by Kenny Alisson, he has not backed off the pace.
We have seen Housen do so much work for his team over the last few weeks, riding at 40, 50 kilometres an hour on the front for hour after hour. But now he's going up a mountain and he's got just one rider behind him and he's heading for the top. If he can do this, it'll go down as his best ever victory, that's for sure. Still Norris on the front here.
Lachlan Norris is riding at the front. He's doing the tempo for Azevedo, another one of the Colombians in the race, one of his teammates. Housen has not looked to Alisson to do a turn of pace at the front, but would he get any benefit from the slipstream anyway, given the height differential?
Absolutely none, I would suspect. There's not a lot on the climb anyway. It's every man for himself. Climbers like to measure their own pace and not try to be dictated to, as Alisson is right now. He's not happy, he's gritting his teeth there. This is a very select group of riders. Guerin's there in that lime green helmet. Norris still setting the pace. The interesting thing with the two top teams up the road, the big names on those teams are just sat here and don't have to do anything at all.
Chris Froome is in that group wearing the blue shoes. Chavez is there as well. Many of the riders remaining back there will fear their reputations. Meanwhile, their corresponding teammates, Housen and Alisson, they've got the green light, they've got some freedom, they've got a 1 minute advantage.
You can see the slopes here. There's no relent on this climb. We get a little bit of a flat before it kicks up towards the finish again. This is a very, very nice gap now. Now, for the first time, Damien Housen takes a good look at Kenny Ellison. Ellison prepared to go through with him. It's an amazing tactic by both teams, this. Everybody has been watching the big names, and these two have taken their chance.
And the tactics, they're hatched by the sports director, the man from the team in the car calling the shots. And for Damien Housen of Orica Scott, that is Matt Wilson. The last time the Jayco Herald Sun Tour came to Falls Creek, Matt Wilson went on to win the race overall. He's got insider knowledge.
And was a very good bike rider, Matty Wilson. Was also an Aussie champion on the road, but it's still Lachlan Norris. The fact that Lachlan's been left to do all the work. We go back up to the front here, though. Housen's giving it a real go, and there's another fighting reaction from Kenny Ellison, but will the elastic snap?
Alisson is clawing his way back. Housen is riding this climb like a time trialist, setting an infernal tempo.
Well, for you youngsters hoping to be a professional one day, watch how these professionals hit each other now. They are both digging into what we call the red zone, and hats off to the man in black. He's clawed his way back to Damien Housen. I don't think Damien expected that. Is there anything left now?
Alisson, no retreat, no surrender. This is Johnny Clark, followed by Chavez, and then Froome in the black colours.
Well, Chavez is concentrating here. He's certainly not planning an attack right now. Froome sat on his back wheel. The top two favourites locked together, but they're running the best part of half a minute to 45 seconds behind these two. Housen is really grimacing, but look at Ellison. He's gone back up to the front to do his turn. That's a very, very show of either bravery or stupidity. We're going to find out which.
Or bluff. This is Michael Storer now who's attacking. It's Michael Storer at the front, the young Western Australian. Sebastian Henao is the next to respond. Followed then by Johnny Clark, and looking behind him, Jai Hindley is also on the wheel.
And that group looks to be gapping away from the field. Only 2.5 left, and Ellison, is he going to go up the inside? Cheeky move, but it's the short way round the corner, but there was no attack there, and Housen, no problem to lock onto his back wheel. We're running out of road for these two, and Housen has gone. He saw the man in black look to the right. He dived to the open door on the left, and he's got the gap at 2 kilometres to go. Now, can he claw this one back?
As soon as Housen had the benefit of the element of surprise, he seized the moment. The gap has opened up once again. He's yet to win a race in his professional career. He gives Alisson just a little bit of distance, and now he's got the momentum.
Yeah, there was a split-second delay there. Ellison was not expecting that move. He was looking down at his brakes. Now he's clear. He's carrying the number to the summit. Look at the gap. It's open now. He's not over. This man has not stopped riding at all. But there is 1 kilometre to go. He's 1 kilometre away from his most famous moment in his pro career.
You made reference to the world title that he won in the junior ranks. That was in the under-23s in the individual time trial. This is Jai Hindley who's going forward. and he is slowly but surely bridging the gap across to the Frenchman, Kenny Ellison.
And Storer is behind him, and they've got rid of all the opposition. This team from the Quartermental Real Estate squad, the youngest riders in the race, are unbelievable, and they're riding up, two of them to the summit. But this is the moment now for Damien Housen, 150 metres out. Every second counts. There's no bonuses at the finish. This is real time, and a yellow jersey awaits him.
For Housen, normally at the service of Chavez, but today is his day to be number one. All the way through the line, maximum time games, and the yellow jersey will be on his shoulders.
In what could be compared with a stage in the Tour de France, high up on Falls Creek, a magnificent backdrop, and a man who has worked so hard for the victory. Might be a while before you get to speak to him, Matt. As we look down the home straight now, this is going to be Jai Hindley here, the Australian. He's not far behind.
You would have expected Ellison, but the Frenchman's been caught. He really has cracked in the final 2 kilometres. And Jai Hindley, at just 20 years of age, second on the stage, and the white jersey is the best young rider.
And the man in black comes around the corner, the professional from Sky, Kenny Ellison. The Frenchman on the British squad, as Jai Hindley is caught before he falls off. Boy, has he worked for second, and this man has certainly worked for third, but he won't be happy with that.
This is Chris Froome trying to limit the damage. The defending champion, Lucas Hamilton, is behind him. So too is Esteban Chavez. Cameron Meyer and Nathan Earl also in that group from Quartermental Real Estate.
The Australian national team are going to go into the team lead here. They've never lost a team race since last August in France. As they now lead out, and just going for goal there, Nathan Earl leads it out. This is Michael Storer coming up the climb ahead.
Fourth on the stage, another rider from the national team. Esteban Chavez sprinting to the line for fifth, with Froome right on his hammer.
And they might have given them a separate time there. There was a recognisable gap. If so, it'll be a second difference. Might be crucial later on. But there's the man of the day, and he's got a yellow jersey waiting for him. Orica Scott have got the lead, but perhaps not with the rider they expected.
Don't be fooled by the grey hair. He's just 24 years of age. And the future is bright as Chavez embraces the stage winner, Damien Housen.
And that is a sign of the friendship that glues this team together. There he is, getting his first professional win. Damien Housen is now ready to pull on the race leader's jersey.
Don't really have any words to describe it yet. It's only just after the finish, but certainly really happy to get the win. First win in the Green Edge colours, and it's been a long spell without a win, but I've been living my successes through others, which I'm always happy to do, and I'll continue to be happy to do. But yeah, it's nice to get a little bit of glory today.
What was the experience like to be chasing down a guy like Kenny Ellison and riding away from Chris Froome and Esteban Chavez?
Yeah, it was pretty scary, coming into that last K. I didn't know if I was going to catch up to Kenny or if Froome was just going to fly past me. So I was just head down and just giving it everything, really.
Before the climb started, everyone in that main peloton was looking at themselves, and I threw the gauntlet down before the climb actually started, which took a while for people to react. I had the gap, and then it was a matter of containing that all the way to the finish today.
The top three on the stage, the man in the middle with the biggest smile, Damien Housen, the winner of the day. Jai Hindley in second position, was Kenny Ellison in third, Michael Storer in fourth place. Big story of the day, the Quartermental Real Estate team with 5 riders inside the top 10. The bicycle beer orange jersey for the most aggressive, that goes to Steve Lampier after a day-long adventure in the breakaway. The under-23 jersey, the state government best young rider, Jai Hindley, ahead of 2 of his teammates, Michael Storer and then Lucas Hamilton. The Metro Trains green jersey for the sprint classification, Jacob Kaufman, 12 points, 2 clear of Damien Housen. He had a big battle to make it to the finish line at Falls Creek. The Subaru King of the Mountains jersey, that goes to the stage winner, Damien Housen. He leads ahead of Ben Hill, who was the first over the top of Tawonga Gap. It's Jai Hindley in third. The one that matters the most, though, that's the yellow jersey, the leader of the general classification. Damien Housen, third overall in the race 1 year ago. Now he's in a position where he can race to defend his advantage of 38 seconds ahead of Hindley. It's Alisson at 53 seconds. Chris Froome, last year's winner, a minute and 12 seconds behind. And the other big pre-race favourite, Esteban Chavez, is at 1 minute and 15 seconds. The stunning backdrop of Falls Creek today, well renowned as a ski resort, but it's so much more than that. It's an all-season resort with cycling of all kinds on the road, which we've seen today, led by Damien Housen, and of course mountain biking. This is one of the most popular destinations. Plus there's all the restaurants and the cafes to be able to enjoy the views. Today though, Phil, the person who got here first to enjoy the view was Damien Housen. And what about the emotion across the line?
Absolutely superb. We're supposed to be experts. I think we're all looking the wrong way today, because while the favourites marked each other, the other riders took off. It was a great day for a lot of new names in this sport.
He got the green light and he made the most of it. He was third overall here last year. He knows that Chris Froome at 1 minute and 12 seconds is not out of this yet.
Oh no, no, you never can say you're out of this race, and Froome will be back. Remember last year he won this on the last day in the last hour of the race, so it's always a possibility. There's plenty of room for more attacks.
Stage 2 will be the first day of defence of the yellow jersey for Damien Housen. Beechworth is the destination. Again, he'll have to wait to enjoy the views when he gets there. It's a big chance for the opportunist to win in a breakaway.